When it comes to selvage denim brands and workwear in general, I feel like there's two different types of main categories, such as what's known as repro brands or reproduction brands, which are brands or clothing lines that are dedicated to recreating heritage and vintage style pieces almost exactly to the T, basically as close as they could possibly get them, with minimal tweaks, minimal design details, minimal fit details. And then there are brands that are trying to modernize and elevate these otherwise staple classics, breathing new life into what otherwise might be pieces that could be considered timeless and created the foundation of what men's fashion is today. Now, the thing with reproduction brands is that they are very faithful to creating vintage style or vintage feeling garments, but these older garments didn't always have the best details or the best construction. One of my favorite examples is the Levi's of the World War II era, when rationing took over and they actually had to strip away a lot of the details that made the Levi's jean what it was. And there are a lot of brands that are fascinated with that era of jean. And then on the other side, you have modern brands that are actually improving and adding their own style details, adding their own methods of construction, and creating an otherwise better garment that is vintage inspired, but it's not totally a vintage repro. And one of my favorite brands that is so good at taking these vintage inspirations and modernizing them, making them better and more useful for the current times that we live in, is a brand called 3Sixteen, which I'm absolutely enthused by. If you guys have been on this channel before, you know I love 3Sixteen. I have a lot of their shirts. I even have a pair of shoes from them. I got a couple of different things from them. And what's interesting about 3Sixteen is that they actually started off as a denim brand, and their mission was not making repro pieces, but making a better raw denim jean. They really just wanted to make the jean, which is the embodiment of timeless American style, and just make it better with their own ideas, their own brand identity. And I finally made the step into copying one of their jeans, but it's actually interesting because not only is it my first 3Sixteen selvage denim pair, but it's also my first pair of black selvage denim ever. I never really was a black denim guy, especially considering how hard it is to fade a pair of black jeans. But recently 3Sixteen and the ever so renowned Throw and Fits podcast, namely Lawrence Schlossman and James Harris, got together and not only made the most perfect fitting pair of jeans, but also the perfect black pair of selvage denim in general. And basically that's where these came in. So these are the 3Sixteen X Throw and Fits big jean is what they call it, because basically this is the baggiest jean, the most high-rise jean that 3Sixteen has ever made. This is the only colorway that they ever dropped in collaboration with Throw and Fits. And what's interesting about this jean is it's actually a wash pair of denim as opposed to a raw black, and that's part of the reason why I actually went and made this step to cop one of these jeans. Like I said, I've never really been too big of a black jean guy, and I ended up going to the 3Sixteen X Throw and Fits event where they actually dropped these jeans in person. And I said to myself, I'm not gonna go and just cop the jeans just because I like Throw and Fits or just because I like 3Sixteen. I know they wouldn't want me to do that, and I'm also not that type of guy. But I said, let me keep an open mind. Let me see the jeans. Let me try them on. Let me see how I feel. Because I've also been on the search for the baggiest selvage denim that I could find. And bro, I'm not even gonna lie. When I tried these on, it was like love at first sight, because these literally have the perfect fit that I'm looking for. And I really hope, I really pray that 3Sixteen and Throw and Fits do something like this again and make an indigo pair, or better yet, a natural indigo pair. Bro, because I would cop like 3 pairs straight off the bat. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But anyways, back to these jeans. These are an incredible, expertly made, supremely done black pair of selvage denim that has actually been given this gorgeous washing effect. And the details that the Throw and Fits and 3Sixteen team came up with for this jean are absolutely insane. One of the things that was most striking to me when I first saw these jeans on this beautiful display that was up in the 3Sixteen store was definitely the teal shank on the front waistband, which granted I do always wear a belt, but in the off chance that I don't wear a belt with these, this teal shank is incredible. I love how the teal balances out and contrasts the rest of the jean, and I think because of the washing effect of the jean, this teal actually works better as opposed to throwing this on something that's like super dark. And the shank is really in there. It's really installed on this waistband very nicely. I thought it was going to be fragile, but it's actually held up very well. I've worn this jean so much since I bought it. So this is a 3-button fly with the 4th button closure, and here you have the 3Sixteen branded buttons. These are really clean, and they are definitely some of the more sturdy buttons that I've seen when it comes to raw denim. They have that real distinct modern feel. They're more flat. They're not necessarily cupped or too shapely like other buttons for raw denim jeans have. And another thing that really sold me on this jean was when I went to go try these jeans on at 3Sixteen. I had no idea about this, but as soon as I started throwing them on and I noticed that the inside of the front fly actually had a selvage ID treatment, I was like, yo, this is one of those denim nerd details that really just sells this jean to me. As soon as I saw this, I knew I was copping. I said to myself, if this jean fits, then this jean is mine. I really love that Selvage ID detail on the inside of the front fly. Literally nobody will ever see that, but it's just something that not only speaks to the denim nerd in me, but it's also something that 3Sixteen and Throw and Fits really took into account when they started designing these jeans. And they said not everything has to be for show. There are some details that you really truly just want for yourself, and this is one of those details that really just shows that passion and really shows that care in creating a good pair of selvage denim. Now when I talk about modernizing workwear or the selvage denim jean in specific, I think 3Sixteen does a very good job at taking cues from vintage denim but bringing it into the new light of 2024. And one of my favorite things about this jean is not only do they have a chain stitch on the bottom of the waistband, but they also have a chain stitch running throughout the top as well. And you rarely ever see that. You usually only see it on the bottom, and then on the top you have a regular standard straight stitch, and that's so common with Japanese repro brands, and it's not a bad thing. And if you like reproduction denim, then that's cool. This is definitely meant more for the guy who's not necessarily a denim nerd but likes good clothes, and 3Sixteen definitely makes very good clothes. Another interesting thing about this jean is because it has been given that stone wash, which means that it's gone through kind of a wearing treatment or a fading treatment, you would think that there's a lot more loose threads and a lot more wear throughout the craftsmanship of the jean just because of that natural wear and just because of the enzymes, just because of the stone washing. They actually did a really good job at quality control to eliminate all of that if there even was any to begin with. I mean, the interior of the jean is completely clean. It's so smooth. I mean, I can't find not a single hole. There's barely any loose threading, if at all. And the washing effect is even seen throughout the inside of the jean as well. I mean, this really truly is an incredible pair of black jeans. This is the only black denim that I currently own. And after owning these, probably the only black denim that I will ever own, because bro, I love these jeans. They're so packed with passion. They're packed with detail. And another one of those details that I love, speaking of, is that they actually went ahead and did the tucked in belt loop treatment as opposed to just cutting and sewing the belt loop down on top of the yoke piece and on top of the front. I mean, you rarely ever see tucked in belt loops, even in selvage denim, because a lot of selvage denim brands just so happen to be repro brands. But I always love this detail. It's so much cleaner. It looks so much better. It's so much stronger of a jean when you have those tucked in belt loops. It adds that reinforcement. And that's just another one of those details that really shows that 3Sixteen is definitely just out there to make a better jean. You also have these incredible rivets on the front pockets, as well as on the coin pocket. You have the 3Sixteen logo. It is a traditional nipple rivet, but it's got this really interesting finish on it that gives it like this kind of metallic feel, as opposed to the really dull matted out rivets that you would otherwise see on other denim brands. And the logo is so subtle. I really didn't even notice this until I wore these yesterday. And I just think it's so clean because this is not screaming, this is a 3Sixteen jean to you. It is just giving subtle nods, which I think is what 3Sixteen is all about. The coin pocket is also faced with a Selvage ID treatment on the inside of the coin pocket, which I always love. It's one of those subtle details that, again, nobody's ever gonna see, but you know it's there. It's just for you and the brand. Looking at this jean, it's very interesting because at the bottom and the top of the waistband even, because of the chain stitching, you actually see a lot of that fading that was given from the wash throughout the entire waistband piece. And that to me is really cool. I love that detail. And again, it's just something interesting that you could kind of see when you don't wear a belt with this jean. Now, another exciting detail about this jeans, which was exclusive to the collaboration, is this incredible black horsehair patch that's actually sewn as a belt through patch. So you could actually put your belt through it and show off the patch, which is great because the belt isn't going to ruin the patch. And you also just get to show that off. It's a little knotted detail and really just makes this feel like an expensive luxury high-end jean. I love the way that horsehair patch looks. It's so simple, but it's so elegant, and it just adds a lot of visual interest against the graininess of the denim. Speaking of the denim actually has a fair amount of slub for a black selvage denim, and that's only been accentuated with the wash. But the finish of the denim also gives off a slight bit of luster. It's not too shiny like a wax denim, but it definitely has a really smooth feel and just the touch of luster. Not too much, but again, just enough to give this jean that real luxury feel, because granted, this is not a cheap pair of jeans. So when you buy something like this, you definitely want to feel like your money is well spent. Now, another one of those details that really just sells how modern and how elevated of a pair of selvage denim this is that instead of the traditional serge seam that you usually see on other brands, you actually have a flat felled or double felled inseam running all the way up the inside of the jean. And this is basically known to be the strongest seam that you can get forget when it comes to selvage denim in general. Basically, the seam is folded together, it's pressed down, and then it's sewn with 2 rows of stitching to ensure that this is going to be a long-lasting and high-quality pair of jeans. And that's another one of those details that confirms to me that 3Sixteen loves to go that extra mile and improve the American timeless staple of the selvage denim jean and just make good quality clothes whether the consumer knows what it is or not. You have a very cleanly done, super straight, absolutely beautiful chain stitch running throughout the hem. And because of the tension from that chain stitch, when they gave these jeans the wash that they gave it, you're actually getting a little bit of that diagonal roping that you usually see throughout natural wear of raw denim that actually has this chain stitch hem. So it's actually already simulating that wear and mirroring the vintage feel of the rest of the jean. And I don't know how they were able to do this, but that looks absolutely sensational. I love the way that that looks. I mean, 3Sixteen just did a really good job at making these jeans. You also have the red and white selvage ID, which I really love and appreciate because usually on black denim, a lot of times you only get that real thick, super red selvage ID, which I don't personally like myself. This is just a really super clean red and white selvage ID that runs throughout the jean. And I always appreciate that detail. The classic selvage ID just can't be beat. All in all, this is a really solid pair of black denim. It's not a raw, it is a wash selvage denim, which I don't really care about. It's a really nice looking jean. But my favorite thing about this jeans is definitely by far the fit. The fit is super roomy in the thigh. It's super baggy, but it doesn't look uninviting. It doesn't look hard to wear. It's actually just a really nice, kind of slouchy pair of jeans that just works with so many different types of tops, so many different shirts, jackets. I mean, one of my favorite things to wear with this jean is my oversized white Oxford button-down shirt that I got from Gitman Vintage on Hugberry. And I love wearing this shirt with the sleeves rolled up, not even buttoned, just a t-shirt under it. And it just looks so good with these jeans. So all in all, I feel like this was the gateway to getting me addicted to 3Sixteen's denim, which is dangerous because I was already addicted to their shirts. But to be honest, it's like, how could you not when you have such a great brand making such amazing clothes like this? But yeah, anyways, guys, big shout out to 3Sixteen and big shout out to Throwing Fits for making the only black jeans that I ever actually really liked. I really hope y'all do something in an indigo pair, something raw, so this way I could throw those into my daily rotation. And big shout out to you guys for watching. Thank you so much for the support on the last video. I didn't even know it was gonna go that crazy. Y'all really showed love and I could not be more appreciative to it. The love, the support, the DMs, meeting you guys in person, all of it has really just reinvigorated my drive to make even better videos to come forward. Anyways, guys, as always, I'm super late for work, so I gotta get out. But with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.